Some songs from 1973 never got the recognition they deserved. Today, we're exploring 10 incredible songs that you may have forgotten and the stories we're sure you haven't heard. Elton John released Goodbye Yellow Brick Road during a tumultuous period in his career. While he was already a superstar, this particular track emerged when he was battling severe cocaine addiction and struggling with his sexuality in an unaccepting era. The song peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, but its deeply personal meaning often got overshadowed by his bigger hits like Tiny Dancer and Your Song. The track's lyrics tell a story of disillusionment with fame and luxury.
When are you gonna come down? When are you going to lie?
Drawing parallels to The Wizard of Oz. Bernie Taupin, John's longtime lyricist, wrote the words after experiencing his own crisis of faith with the music industry. The Yellow Brick Road represented the path to stardom, while the farmer mentioned in the lyrics symbolized a return to authenticity and simplicity. What many don't know is that Elton John initially hated the song. He recorded it in Jamaica, but was so dissatisfied with the results that he re-recorded the entire album at the Chateau de Hérouville in France. The Chateau sessions were completed in just 3 days, with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road being recorded in a single take. The Eagles soared onto the scene with Peaceful Easy Feeling, though the band's formation was anything but peaceful. Don Henley and Glenn Frey met while backing Linda Ronstadt, but their partnership was marked by fierce competition and creative tension from the start. The song's writer, Jack Tempchin, wasn't even a band member. He was a street performer in San Diego. The recording sessions for Peaceful Easy Feeling revealed the band's perfectionist nature.
I like the way sparkling earrings lay.
They spent countless hours getting the harmonies just right, with Glenn Frey insisting on over 40 takes of the chorus. This perfectionism led to heated arguments, particularly between Frey and Bernie Leadon, who felt the song was being overproduced. The inspiration for the song came from a waitress who rejected Tempchin's advances. He wrote the lyrics on the back of a paper bag while sleeping on a kitchen floor in El Centro, California. The waitress never knew she inspired one of the most enduring songs of the era. The Allman Brothers band's Ramblin' Man marked a significant departure from their usual blues-based sound. The band recorded it shortly after the tragic motorcycle death of Duane Allman, amid internal conflicts about their musical direction. Some members felt they were selling out by creating a more commercial sound. The song's success created a rift within the band. It became their only top 10 hit, reaching number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. But this mainstream appeal caused tension. Dickie Betts, who wrote and sang the track, faced criticism from bandmates who believed they were straying too far from their southern rock roots. Few fans realized that Ramblin' Man features harmonies from Les Dudek, a session guitarist who was never officially part of the band. His contributions were kept quiet for years due to internal politics. Hey friends, if you're enjoying these forgotten classics, take a moment to hit that like button and share your memories of where you were when these songs first played on the radio. We'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more musical memories from our era. Bloodstone broke barriers with Natural High, though many radio stations initially refused to play it. The band formed in Kansas City's segregated neighborhoods, and their soul-infused sound challenged the racial divisions of the time. They were one of the first African-American groups to achieve success in both R&B and pop markets. The song's distinctive falsetto vocals almost didn't make it onto the final recording. Producer Mike Vernon initially pushed for a different arrangement, but the band stood their ground. This decision proved crucial, as the falsetto became the song's most memorable element, though it sparked debates about authenticity in soul music. The band recorded Natural High in London because they felt American studios weren't giving them the sound they wanted. They used the same studio as the Rolling Stones, and Mick Jagger actually walked in during one of their sessions, though this detail was kept quiet for years. Clint Holmes struck gold with Playground in My Mind, but the success came at a personal cost. The song's producer essentially forced Holmes to record it, threatening to end his contract if he refused. Holmes hated the song's childish nature and felt it would damage his credibility as a serious artist. The track features Holmes' son on backup vocals, singing the "My Name is Michael" parts.
My name is Michael, I got a name.
This decision wasn't artistic, it was purely financial. The producer refused to pay for professional child singers, so Holmes had to use his own son. The boy received no compensation for his contribution, leading to family tensions years later. The song's success became Holmes's biggest regret. He felt pigeonholed by it and struggled to be taken seriously afterward. In a bitter irony, the royalties from the song were largely eaten up by legal fees from disputes within the record company. Looking Glass created Jimmy Loves Mary Ann in an attempt to replicate the success of Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, but the band was falling apart during recording. Lead singer Elliot Lurie was planning his exit, and the other members were barely speaking to each other. The tension is actually audible in certain parts of the recording. The song's narrative about young love across social classes struck a chord with listeners.
Jimmy loves Mary Ann.
Though it wasn't entirely fictional, Lurie based it on a real relationship he observed during his college years, changing the names to protect the couple's privacy. The real Jimmy later became a prominent New York attorney who never publicly acknowledged his role in inspiring the song. The band only performed the song live a handful of times because they couldn't recreate the complex harmonies on stage. They attempted to lip-sync it on television once, but the performance was so obviously fake that it never aired. We would love to hear from you. Drop a comment telling us which of these songs brings back the strongest memories. Remember to hit subscribe and share this video with friends who appreciate real music from our generation. Let's keep these memories alive together. Led Zeppelin's Over the Hills and Far Away emerged during one of the band's most controversial periods. They were facing multiple lawsuits over songwriting credits, and Jimmy Page was dealing with a growing heroin addiction that affected his guitar work. The song's recording sessions were marked by intense arguments between Page and Robert Plant.
Oh, darling, 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 walk a while with me.
The track's complex guitar arrangement required over 50 takes to perfect, largely due to Page's deteriorating condition. John Paul Jones later revealed that they had to record Page's parts in small sections and piece them together in editing, a fact that was deliberately hidden from the public to protect the band's image. The song's title comes from a traditional English folk song, though Zeppelin never acknowledged this influence. A folk singer nearly sued them over it, but dropped the case after allegedly receiving a substantial private payment. Pure Prairie League crafted Amy during a complete band lineup change. The song was written by Craig Fuller before he left the band to avoid the Vietnam draft, creating a bittersweet backdrop to its creation. The record label initially refused to release it as a single, considering it too country for rock radio.
They will try to make you think and let you see one thing for yourself.
The song gained popularity through persistent underground radio play, becoming a hit 2 years after its initial release. This delayed success created problems for the band, as they were pressured to perform a song with members who hadn't even played on the original recording. The real Amy was a composite of 3 different women Fuller had dated in college. One of them became a prominent music critic and wrote a scathing review of the band without disclosing her connection to their biggest hit. The Pointer Sisters defined convention with Yes We Can. Tackling social issues when many female groups were restricted to love songs. Their producer tried to tone down the song's message about racial unity, leading to heated studio confrontations. The sisters threatened to walk away from their contract rather than compromise their vision. The song's funk-driven arrangement came from an unlikely source, a jazz session musician who was filling in for their regular guitarist. His contribution was so significant that the sisters fought to get him credited, though the record label initially refused. The battle over credits lasted longer than the actual recording sessions. During the song's recording, the sisters were so short on money that they shared a single microphone, taking turns stepping forward to sing their parts. This necessity created the song's distinctive vocal layering effect. Jim Croce recorded Time in a Bottle with a profound sense of his own mortality, though no one recognized it at the time. The song was written after his wife told him she was pregnant, but Croce was deeply anxious about the future. He had been working as a truck driver and construction worker to make ends meet, uncertain if his music career would ever provide for his family. The track's intricate guitar work was actually performed in separate takes because Croce's fingers were often too damaged from his construction job to play the entire piece at once. The producer kept this secret, knowing it might hurt Croce's image as an authentic folk musician. The song became a #1 hit only after Croce's tragic death in a plane crash.
If I could save time in a bottle.
The master tapes of Time in a Bottle were nearly lost in a studio fire. They were saved by a young intern who ran into the burning building to retrieve them, suffering minor burns in the process. That intern later became a successful record producer, though he never worked with Croce's music out of respect for the singer's memory. Thank you for joining us on this journey through 1973's forgotten classics. If these stories stirred memories of your own, share them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got 50 years of music history to explore together, and your support keeps these stories alive. Until next time, keep the music playing.